CLE DE PEAU BEAUTÉ is one of the most luxurious cosmetics brands in the world, famous for its skincare first formulas, elegant packaging, and the promise of radiant natural beauty. But with prices that make even seasoned beauty lovers pause, is it really worth it? I have tried almost everything from CLE DE PEAU, and in today's video, I'm breaking down the absolute best and worst products. If you've ever wondered what actually lives up to the hype and what will leave you disappointed, this is the honest guide you've been waiting for. Let's get into it. And I'm gonna kick things off with what I think is the standout category from CLE DE PEAU, and that is complexion, specifically foundations. And we're gonna be talking about these in the order of lightest coverage to fullest coverage. And the lightest coverage one in the CLE DE PEAU lineup is called the Foundation. I think because this comes in a super bougie, absolutely gorgeous, stunning jar packaging, a lot of people think this is gonna be like thicker and fuller coverage, but no, this is the lightest coverage one out of the bunch. And despite it having the bougie packaging, I actually feel like this one is the best for every day. If you like something that's very fresh and lightweight on the skin, that's what I love about this foundation. It's very lightweight, it's very, very moisturizing, but even though it's lightweight, you can still build it up to about medium coverage, and it is so blurring on the skin. It has a very, very skin-like type of finish. It really just melts into the complexion. Usually with my skin, I can still see a little bit of, my natural skin peeking through, and that's why I love it for every day. It just looks like I have my best skin ever. But before you click and check the price, I will warn you, this is the most expensive one in the CLE DE PEAU lineup. This is described as the ultimate age-defying foundation. Not only are you paying more for the super fancy packaging, which I will admit, adds a lot of luxury to my everyday routine, but you're also paying for the ingredients. This does have a more enhanced ingredient list for tackling things like fine lines and wrinkles, skin smoothness, and also firmness. Whether it is the skincare itself or the actual color cosmetics, CLE DE PEAU is a very skincare focused brand. They really focus on the ingredients. The name literally means the key to skin's beauty, and this product in particular, I think more so than any of the other products in the lineup, really focuses on the skincare, and that is a big part of the price. It is one of the best foundations that I've ever tried, I will be honest, but because the price is so high, I would say if you really don't care about the packaging, if you really don't care about the skincare and you're looking more so for something with like a light coverage and a luminous finish, then I would say go for something a little bit cheaper, or you could try some of the other CLE DE PEAU foundations in the lineup. Next up, we have the Cushion Foundation, and this is described as having an essence-like texture, and I would say you can build this up to medium coverage. It is a little bit more full coverage than the foundation. It could also be because you're using the cushion to really like pat it on. You can layer it up a little bit more, and it is very lightweight. I will be honest, this is the one that I use the least. I don't know if it's because I don't use cushion foundations all that much. I think it's mostly because it is just very dewy of a finish, and I have dry skin. I like some glow, but this is just a little bit too dewy for me. If you have very dry skin, if you have mature skin, or if you just like cushion foundations, I think this is worth checking out. I think it has a beautiful finish. I like the way it looks, but I always feel like I want to add a little bit of powder on top personally, so I don't tend to reach for this. For me, if I'm going for something lighter weight, I would rather invest a little bit more in getting the foundation. I think it will last longer as well. Not to mention that the cushion foundation, it only comes in a couple of shades and they're all very light, so the shade range isn't really that great either. Next, we have the Radiant Fluid Foundation, and this is gonna be the Goldilocks foundation. It's right in the middle. You're gonna get medium coverage. I don't think it is too dewy. It's not too matte, although I would recommend this for those of you who have more like normal to dry skin because it is very hydrating. You still get that radiant skin-like kind of finish that you get from the foundation, but you're not gonna get as much skincare infused, so it is gonna be a lower price point, and you do get more coverage. My understanding is that this is their best seller, at least according to the folks at my local CLE DE PEAU counter. They say this is the one that sells the best. I think this is beautiful for mature skin if you want a little bit more coverage, although overall, I think the foundation is the best one if it fits within your budget for mature skin. All of these foundations, guys, they are seriously exceptional. They last so beautifully on the skin, and I'm not just saying that. This is one of my favorite brands for foundation, and my understanding is that a lot of celebrities really like this particular one as well. However, if you want the same beautiful radiance, the same medium coverage, but you don't want as hydrated of a finish, you want something that is more matte, there is also a Radiant Fluid Foundation Matte, and that is actually what I have on my skin today. This is the most recent one that I've tested out, and I have to say, I really like this. I have dry skin, but I still feel like this works for me, and actually, I think this is gonna be a great go-to for me in the summertime because man, it gets hot here, and I need something that's a little bit more matte and just a bit more long wearing than the natural finish one we just discussed. I think that this foundation is the best if you have oily or combo skin, or if like me, you have dry skin, but maybe in the summertime, you want something that kind of sets down more. I did not have to powder this at all. I get this beautiful luminous finish, and you can see it's not shiny. I don't feel like I have to set anything. It's not as intense as like a Prada foundation. That is fuller coverage, and it's a lot like more long wearing. This is a good everyday matte foundation. It's not gonna be like an Estee Lauder double wear, although I get plenty of good wear out of it. If I wanted this to last a little bit longer, I would just go in with the setting spray. And lastly, we have the fullest coverage foundation from CLÉ DE PEAU, which is the Radiant Cream Foundation. This is the one that I wear the most. It's also the one that I think I've had the longest out of all of them. I didn't even realize until recently that this was the fullest coverage one, because when I think of full coverage, I tend to think of something that's like a little bit heavier, maybe a bit drying on the skin, doesn't feel comfortable over time, and this is none of those things. I think that I tend to wear this one the most because I do get acne, I do have rosacea and hyperpigmentation, and for better or worse, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my complexion. I really love a beautiful complexion when it comes to makeup, and this formula really is the definition of luxury to me because it is so effortless to apply with just a little bit. I apply this with a brush or my fingers, and it completely erases all imperfections while still being very hydrated on the skin. I don't feel like I have to powder this. It's not as matte as the Radiant Fluid Foundation Matte that I have on my face right now. It gives more of a hydrated effect, but it's not as dewy as the other ones discussed in the lineup, so I don't really feel like I have to powder it. It's very long wearing. It stays hydrated on my face all day. It doesn't get cakey, and it's extremely luminous. It is the most luminous one out of the line. If you don't mind something that is fuller coverage, I highly recommend checking this out because it really it makes you look more perfected as opposed to the more skin-like textures of the foundation and the Radiant Fluid ones. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be enjoying this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. My name is Sophia, and I upload new videos just like this every single week, all about everyday beauty and accessible luxury style. I film all of my beauty videos in natural light with no filters, and we like to keep it real, chill, and fun here on this channel. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button to join our fam. We seriously would love to have you. And all the products, by the way, that I'm talking about in this video, all of the shades that you see me apply, my own shades, makeup that's on my face, it's all gonna be linked in the description box down below and on the shopping button on the screen. But oh my goodness, friends, we are not done with the CLÉ DE PEAU complexion category because we can't forget about the concealer. The concealer stick is an iconic cult classic from CLÉ DE PEAU. I remember reading about this product years ago before I was even on YouTube in a magazine and being like, oh my gosh, that sounds so luxurious. So many makeup artists and celebrities swear by this concealer, and I'm here to tell you the hype is real. Usually when you think of a stick concealer, you think of something that is maybe super matte, kind of drying, very heavy, and this is none of that. Just like with the rest of the CLÉ DE PEAU products, this has a beautiful skin-like finish. It is incredibly blurring. I like that it's still high coverage, but it's not too heavy on the skin. You can really build up the coverage where you need it. You could even use this kind of like a foundation on the go if you wanted to, because it gives enough coverage for that, if you just wanted to sort of like spot conceal, but you can also sheer it out for something that's a little bit more lightweight on the skin. I always have one of these in my vanity and one of these in my handbags because this is the perfect little concealer stick for touch-ups on the go. If you need to refresh, you know, where your sunglasses hit right here, if you get that sweaty upper lip like I do during the summertime, it really is the best for that. I think that this product is popular for a reason, and it is one of my absolute favorite products from the brand. There is also the Radiant Corrector, and I often get questions like, which one is better? Which one should I get? The Radiant Corrector is pretty different because number one, it comes in a click pen format. So it's kind of good if you're trying not to use too much makeup. A little bit goes a long way. It's gonna be a lot more lightweight. It's lighter coverage, and it also is gonna be somewhat color correcting as well. I think that this one is really good for mature skin because especially as we get older, less is more. I find that just putting a little bit here on the hollows of the eyes, maybe on the outer corner, really does wonders for a look. This is the one that I love to use on my mom when I'm doing her makeup. Personally, I actually reach for the stick concealer more because I have pretty gnarly hereditary dark circles, and that one is just quicker for me to conceal. But I do really like going in with this if I feel like I need more hydration during the winter. And I also like to use this for touch-ups as well because it has that little brush tip. So if you need to clean up around like a red lip that you're doing for the day, or maybe here on the outer corner if your mascara has flaked or something like that, this one is also really good for touch-ups. Now, I have not tried all of the primers from CLÉ DE PEAU. I'm not really much of a primer person. I don't know, I just skip that step. I just go straight into foundation. I feel like the CLÉ DE PEAU foundations are good enough that you don't really need a primer, but if you feel like you do, the one that I would recommend is the Correcting Cream Veil. The texture of this is it's divine. Like I said, I'm not even much of a primer person. It takes a lot to impress me. This one is very, very nice. A lot of times primers, they feel kind of like silicone-y and weird and slippy on the skin. This one does not. This one feels like straight up velvet, straight up silk. And it does look like it kind of, I don't know, you comment down below, let me know if you agree. I feel like even without foundation on top, it sort of perfects the skin a little bit. It certainly smooths out the skin, and it does increase the longevity of your foundation. So if you were to go in with like the foundation or the dewy cushion, and maybe you wanted some more longevity from that throughout the day, this would be the primer from CLÉ DE PEAU that I would recommend. Let's transition into the cheek category. I want to chat about the powder blush duos. I never hear anybody talk about these on the internet. Maybe it's just me, but these blushes are stunning. They are very finely milled. They have, I think, a little bit of creaminess to them. They're incredibly silky, and they're also very blurring as well. They just bring a little bit of luminosity and life to the cheek. The one that I'm wearing right now is called Peach Tulip, and I love this one because one of the shades is kind of like a demi matte, and then the other one does have just a little bit of glow, so I can almost use it as a highlighter. The other shade that I really like is called Blown Rose. This is great as kind of like a bronzer because it's a classic rose, but then the other color has a bit more brown to it. So if you like those kinds of brownie bronzer types of shades, I would recommend this for you. Where I hesitate to recommend these, however, is the price, okay? Because these are refillable, which is great. That's good. If you use it up, you can replace it. But the refills, I believe, are $50, and the actual component, I think, is $40. So if you want to buy the whole thing, it's $90. $90. Why? Why CLÉ DE PEAU? I mean, I get it. It's up there with Hermes and Sisley, and I do kind of think it deserves to be. I think the quality is there. I would like the packaging to be a bit more luxurious for $90. So yeah, I love these, but $90 is a lot for a blush. I would say wait for a sale. I would rather invest the money in one of the foundations as opposed to the blush. I don't think it's like the standout from CLÉ DE PEAU, but they are really beautiful. I can't lie. I think if you want something that is just as luxurious and maybe similar in quality to the formula, I would go for a Dolce & Gabbana blush. I would go for one of the Gucci blushes, and I would go for one of the Suku blushes as well, or the Surratt ones. The Surratt ones also, I think the formula is pretty similar. The packaging is going to be just as minimal, but the price is going to be more approachable. Now, some of you have probably waited this entire video to hear me properly roast some Clé de Peau products. So buckle up, because this is the moment. This is the moment where I share what I think is my least favorite Clé de Peau product. And it might not be what you expect. It is the Luminizing Face Enhancer. You might be thinking, Sophia, how do you not like this? This is so up your alley. It has the most gorgeous packaging, even like the layout of the pan. Take a look at that. That is luxury. That is gorgeous. It doesn't matter what color you get. Every single presentation of a Luminizing Face Enhancer is absolutely stunning. The crucial downfall here for me is the finish of these. The finish of these, I think is way too glittery. If you are new here, I love glow, but I don't like a lot of visible specks of glitter on my face. I just feel like these emphasize texture, and like the actual feel of the formula is divine. It's super smooth and silky like the blushes, but I prefer the more subtle look of the blushes. These, to me, they kind of confuse me because I don't feel like this looks like a Clé de Peau product. Something very subtle and ethereal on the skin that just enhances your natural beauty. I feel like if they just toned down the glitter a little bit, these would be a 10 out of 10 for me. And a lot of the later shades as well, they are super duper frosty, very frosty, even for me. It's like, how often am I using a early 2000s millennium style highlighter like that? Not too often. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to one of my favorites from Clé de Peau BEAUTÉ. This is, I think, one of the standouts if you're gonna get anything from this brand. If you are really looking for something unique in the beauty market, the luxury beauty market, you need to take a look at the eye color quads from Clé de Peau. This formula is really what makes it special. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Clé de Peau, it's a very skincare focused, skincare infused type of brand. These are the only eyeshadows that I own where I really feel like, almost like I'm applying skincare to my eyelids. They are creamy, but not so creamy that they are going to crease. They work great on mature eyes. I actually think that these are the best eyeshadows for mature eyes that I've ever tried. I love using these on my mom when I do her makeup. I actually have very dry eyelids. I often have a lot of texture. I sometimes get eczema on my eyelids, and these are perfect for me. I never thought that an eyeshadow could actually be hydrating to my eyelids, but these are. Not to mention that every single quad comes with a primer shade. You can use it as an eyeshadow, like it has pigment to it, but you apply that first as a primer, and it seriously increases the longevity of the entire look. I've tested it many times, primer on one eye, not on the other, and the primer side always outperforms. So I love that it's just kind of built in. You don't have to worry about putting on another eye primer. My caveats are, it's Clé de Peau, so you're not gonna get any like crazy color stories, but the color stories that they have, they are very beautiful. Definitely look for real life photos of the color stories, by the way, because the website photos do not do them justice. I'm wearing Starlight Splendor on my eyes right now, and I really like how this just enhances my natural beauty. I also really, really like the Seagrass quad. Beautiful mossy greens with a hint of gold. Very sophisticated if you want a little bit of color. Also Azure Blue Sea. This one really stands out to me as one of the best blue toned luxury quads out on the market. For my cool tone girlies out there, if you want something a bit softer, Sun-Dried Driftwood is very, very elegant, has some light like plums, purples, and mauves. And then Ocean Sunrise is my favorite if you want a true elegant and sophisticated neutral palette. They're all good, but those are my favorites. You're not gonna get any crazy sparkle from these. They're pigmented, but they're not gonna be like a Natasha Denona or a Pat McGrath, right? It's Clé de Peau. If you like something that is soft elegant, smoothing and hydrating on the lid, then these are the way to go. And I 100% think that they are worth the hefty price tag. On the other hand, next up we have the Perfect Lash Mascara. I think that this is a skip. This is $55. This is a lot for a mascara. Not the most expensive mascara that I've tried, but that's a lot for a mascara. I think this is a total skip, and not because it doesn't make my lashes look beautiful. I'm wearing it today. I think it looks good. It has a curved brush that really kind of lifts up the lashes. I don't have any issues with the application, but I think for the price, this really should have more lasting power. It does claim on the website to be waterproof and smudge proof, and I don't think that is the case at all. Pretty much every single time I wear this mascara, I get some smudging right here on like the top of my brow bone. And if I'm going out in the heat or the humidity, forget about it. This is not my go-to. There's also no skincare, or kind of, I should say, lash care ingredients infused into this. At least it doesn't claim to have any of those. I don't feel like it really fits with the Clé de Peau ethos. I do think that there's an opportunity here for Clé de Peau to maybe reformulate this or come out with a new one that rivals the Chantecaille one that does have a lot of those lash caring ingredients. And then maybe I'd be willing to pay the $55. The Intensifying Liquid Eyeliner. Now, I don't wear liquid eyeliner all that much, but there was a span of my life, pretty much all of my 20s, where I wore liquid eyeliner every single day. So I'm a little bit of a liquid eyeliner snob, and I actually think that this one is really, really good. It's one of the best that I've tried. It is expensive, but I will say it is dual-ended. So on one of the ends, you have a brush tip, which is my preferred type of liquid eyeliner. I really love that traditional Asian style brush tip type of eyeliner, and this is like that. And the color is so inky black and very long lasting. And then at the other side of the eyeliner, you have a little felt tip. So that one's really good if you want to do kind of like a little baby wing. Very easy to maneuver, very easy to control. Definitely one of the best. If I were to use this up, I would definitely repurchase it. The next category is lips. And I feel like in this one, we definitely have some hits and we have some misses, but don't worry. I'm gonna break everything down for you so you can understand the differences in all of the formulas because it gets a little bit confusing. The first product is the Lipstick Satin. This is their satin formula, and in my opinion, one of the best products that Clé de Peau makes. I think that these are some of the best satin lipsticks that I've ever tried, and one of the reasons for that is because although they do have that beautiful, creamy, hydrating feel and look that they give the lips, they are still very richly pigmented and I think rather long lasting as well. Sometimes satin lipsticks, like they're too thin, they're too like slippy on the lips, they're like gone in 2 seconds, they don't have enough rich pigmentation. I feel like I don't see the true color of the lipstick. I don't get that with these. They are so intensely hydrating. I love the way they make my lips look. It looks super natural and kind of, I don't know if you would say skin-like, lip-like? Looks very lip-like. This is the formula I would go with if you want something that is a true pigmented lipstick, but still very hydrating and comfortable on the lips. There's not a ton of shades, but the shades that they do have are really beautiful and I think gorgeously nuanced as well. I would recommend checking out the shade Positively Playful if you're someone that likes neutral shades. This is gonna be a beautiful kind of pinky neutral. There's some warmth to it as well. It really just livens up the entire face. This is the one that I definitely wear the most because it is more nude. I also recommend their best-selling shade, which is called Camelia. This is gonna be a bit more vibrant, but it's not a super bright color. It's kind of like a warm rose. There's a little bit of a terracotta type of tone in there as well. I really like this with a very simple neutral eye. You can even add this on the cheeks as like a blush, and I think it looks super gorgeous. If you want something that is a bit brighter, but you don't really want to commit to like a red lip or something super, out there, this is a really lovely romantic shade to choose. They also have a matte version of the lipstick. So if you like more of that mattified type of look, you might want to go with these. I would say that these are more of a velvet matte formulation, so they feel super smooth on the lips. They're not drying. They're very lightweight, yet still pigmented. And I like these a lot better than the Chanel Rouge Allure Velvet. Those are just not for me. They feel very silicone-y on the lips, and I don't get that from these. I think that these are superior. I'm actually wearing this on my lips today. This is the shade Exuberant. This is a beautiful nude if you want something that is very neutral, not super pink. It's not warm. If you like a neutral nude, I would check out Exuberant. I also really like the shade Unapologetic. This is a gorgeous, warm, muted red. Again, if you don't want to go like full bright fire engine red, this is a very sophisticated, muted red that really just makes the lips pop. You can wear it with a neutral eye. These are my two favorite shades, the red and the nude. I will say, however, out of the matte and the satin formulations, I have to go with the satin as my absolute favorite and recommendation. I think that the satin formula really stands out, not only in the Clé de Peau lineup, but in all of my luxury lipsticks. And I do think that more of my subscribers are gonna like the more hydrated look of the satin lipsticks. Next up are the Precious lipsticks. And precious they are indeed, because these lipsticks are $110. Why are they $110? Well, I suppose it is the ingredients, kind of like the foundation. This is the foundation of the lipsticks. Kind of think of it that way. When Clé de Peau set out to design these, they wanted to create the most luxurious lipstick formula in the world. These are not only infused with argan oil, so they're super moisturizing, but they're also formulated with diamond powder and 24 karat gold. And a lot of lip care, a lot of lip skin care also goes into this formulation. Do I think, however, that these are the most luxurious lipsticks in the world? I don't. These were kind of a letdown for me. I think that these are a skip. I much prefer the classic satin lipstick formula and the shades as well. There's more of like a mixture of shades. I think the shades that they have with these are absolutely stunning, but I think there's just more of a choice when it comes to the satins. The formula of this is very hydrating, but it's like a bit too slippy for me. And I think if you're gonna have a very emollient formula that's infused with argan oil, this is just me, but I don't want a very rich, bright color, and all of the shades are very rich. I would prefer a more subtle color or something that's more sheer, because if it's a deeper color, I'm gonna have to go in with a liner, and I sort of want it to dry down a little bit so it stays in place so it doesn't smudge and then I look ridiculous. I think you know what I'm saying. I'm being super critical here, by the way, because these are $110. The formula is beautiful, and it does give a very slight kind of little sheen to the lips. Remember when Chanel did those kind of slightly pearlized lipsticks that everybody loved? It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, but just more elevated. And then I think the biggest deal breaker for me is the packaging. The packaging looks beautiful. Don't get me wrong, like it matches the rest of the Clé de Peau products, but that's the thing, right? That's the thing. I don't really want it to match the rest of the Clé de Peau products. I want it to be a step above the rest of the Clé de Peau products. The packaging is refillable, so that's great. It's eco-friendly, and you don't have to spend as much on the refills, but it's very lightweight. Like when I hold this, it doesn't feel luxurious. It doesn't feel like the most luxurious lipstick that I've ever tried. And when I compare it up against a Guerlain lipstick case, a Celine lipstick, for example, it doesn't compare. It doesn't compare to the packaging at all. If they were to relaunch these and just really upgrade the packaging and make it really like weighty and what I would consider to be luxurious, then I probably would say that it is worth the price. But I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I don't think that these are worth $110. I would go with the satin formula. Moving along, we have the Lip Glorifier. This is the kind of product that I want to tell you it's a waste of money. I want to tell you it's a skip, but It is kind of my little guilty pleasure. It's basically it's a tinted lip balm, but man, is the formula so hydrating, really divine. It feels so good on the lips. And this shade in particular, this one is #1 pink. It has the most divine rose scent, and I don't know, I really like rose. It smells like a true blossom in your face as well. It doesn't smell like an artificial rose, and it does tint the lips ever so slightly with a little pink tint. It's not the most unique product, but everything about it, I think they did a good job with it. Don't get this one confused, by the way, with neutral pink. That one doesn't have a tint and it doesn't have a scent. So if you don't like fragrance, go with the neutral pink. The Cream Rouge Shine. This is one of the liquid lipsticks from Clé de Peau. There's 2 formulas we're gonna talk about, and this is the shiny formulation. It does have a very creamy, non-sticky type of feel. It's very pigmented. It feels more like a thicker, more pigmented lip gloss, I think, than a lipstick. It does not dry down, and it's not sticky. Like, I like the feel of it on my lips, but this one is not my favorite also. I would not repurchase this because I just feel like it's a bit too slippy on the lips. It's another one of those products where they have some really beautiful, bright, gorgeous shades, but I just don't feel like it's going to stay properly on my lips, and that's what I go to a liquid lipstick for. I would rather go in with like a tinted balm or an actual lip gloss or one of the satin lipsticks. This to me, like, it's just not really hitting any of the things that I like about my lip products. The other thing I don't like about this is that I find that the application, it's kind of streaky. Do you see what I'm saying there in the close-up? It doesn't like melt into the skin. It sort of sits on top of the skin, looks a bit streaky. So for me, this is a skip. Okay, next is the Cream Rouge Sparkles, and these products are not gonna have really any pigment. It's all about the shimmer. They have the same creamy, very hydrating and non-sticky formula as the Cream Rouge Shine, but you don't get all of that streakiness. You just get beautiful sparkle to the lips. This was described to me as grown-up sparkle, and I have to agree. They don't give a ton of shine. They don't give a ton of wow, but the sparkle that they do give is really beautiful, elegant, and multi-dimensional. These are not my personal favorite just because I do like a very glossy, shiny, and kind of plumping lip gloss, so this really isn't my style, but I do think that a lot of my subscribers will like this product. If you're somebody that absolutely detests really sticky or thick lip gloss, plumping lip gloss, or something that has really chunky glitter, then this is gonna be perfect for you. And lastly, I do want to touch upon the skincare from Clé de Peau. And I mean, we could do a whole other video just about this skincare, and everybody has different skin, and I'm not a dermatologist, but I have tested a lot of the Clé de Peau skincare. So I wanted to bring to you today in this video my top 3 favorite Clé de Peau products that I have tested that stand out to me as some of their best, and that I also think are somewhat universal across many different skin types. The first one is the sunscreen, the UV protective cream. Oh, I wish I did not love this so much, but I do, because it's so expensive, but it's so good. I've tried a lot of sunscreens. I'm very fair, okay? So I need a lot of sunscreen, and I really like the Japanese and Korean formulations. Those are my favorite. I feel like they're really lightweight on the skin, and this feels like a Japanese formulation to me. And even though it's so expensive, I really feel like it's worth it. I will be repurchasing this product because this is the most cosmetically elegant sunscreen that I've ever tried. Not only is it very lightweight, but it's also moisturizing. It feels like silk on my skin. It feels like I'm priming my face. It kind of feels a little bit like the primer that I talked about earlier in this video, except a sunscreen. Not greasy at all. And it also is full, you guessed it, with tons of skincare and technology. So I feel good about putting it on my skin. I feel a little bit better about it being so expensive. So I hate to say it, but I love this SPF. My second favorite, in no particular order, is the serum. I use this every single day, 2 pumps. First thing that I put on my face as a part of my skincare routine, morning and night. Kind of like the concealer, this is another hero product from the brand, but in the skincare category. It promises to improve the moisture levels and recover skin barrier in 7 days. It also claims to slow down visible signs of aging, improve radiance, plumpness, and also smoothness. I can speak from my personal experience after using up an entire bottle of this. I definitely notice a difference in the moisture levels of my skin. Remember, I said I have very dry skin. I noticed that I don't get as many dry patches throughout the day. My skin feels a lot more hydrated, overall a lot more radiant. I feel like I don't have as many issues with dryness since using this product. I really like it. I'm going to be repurchasing another bottle. I'm like almost done the one that I have. So this would be another one that I would recommend. And again, it's another kind of hero product. I think it will work for many skin types. And then my third favorite is the Intensive Fortifying Emulsion. This is apparently supposed to be a night cream. I don't use it like that. I actually use this as a day cream. I like that this is very lightweight and refreshing on the skin. This is the kind of thing that I like to use as my daytime moisturizer in the summertime. You're still getting all of those great skincare benefits. You've got hydration, cell turnover, it helps improve dark spots. I think this looks beautiful under makeup. I think it's a wonderful makeup preparation step. And again, it's very lightweight. So in the summertime, like I don't want a thick, rich cream. This is one of my favorite lightweight moisturizers, and it's got all of those great skincare ingredients from CLÉ DE PEAU. Maybe I'm using it wrong, but I like to use this during the day. I think that if you have oilier or maybe combo skin, this would also be a really great product from CLÉ DE PEAU to check out, but I don't know, maybe I'm using it wrong. I don't use it as a night cream. I like this as a nice, lightweight, summertime moisture step. Comment down below, what are some of the products from CLÉ DE PEAU that you are just dying to try? And what do you think are the ones that we should skip? Help us out. And if you liked this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe, or better yet, go watch another video. Up next, I have the 5 best and 5 worst products from Chanel Beauty. I'll see you there.